สวัสดีครับต้อนรับเข้าสู่ถูเหี้ยติดปากขอต้อนรับทุกท่านเข้าสู่เมทัลเพเยลนะวันนี้เรามาเล่นเกม Stanley Parable เบิร์นเหรอ Parable ช่างแม่งเหอะมาลองเล่นเกมมาเดี๋ยว Begin the game ไม่ใช่ loading เหมือนว่าเราจะเป็นพนักงานบริษัทแห่งหนึ่งนะบอกไปเลยว่ามีคำหยาบแน่นอนไอ้พวกโลกสวยไปไกลๆยังไม่โหลดนานจังเลยวะแค่ค้างแล้วมั้ง
This is the story of a man
Click
named
to skip
Stanley.
no
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he
เหมือน
was
อยู่บริษัทแห่งหนึ่ง
employee
นะ
number 427. Employee
นี่เราใช่ปะ
427's job was simple.
เคขยันทำงาน
He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed
นี่แฮกเกอร์นี่หว่า
keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them,
จะทำอะไร
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
ยิ่งมึงมีพิมพ์ทีละมือเมื่อไหร่มึงจะเสร็จวะ
Considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
นี่อย่าบอกนะบริษัทมึงมีห้องเดียวอะ
And then one day something very peculiar happened.
The Stanley Parable ช่างแม่งข้างหลังไม่อ่านยากมาก
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
เดินได้แล้วนี่อะไรอะ WSD โอเคเราเดินปกติฮะคลิกซ้ายเปิดประตูไม่เปิด
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
อะไรอะเปิดได้ปะไม่ได้นี่บริษัทมึงรกมากเลยใช่เฟรมเลยก็ไม่ตกนะแต่ทำไมมันกระตุกจังเลยวะขวาร้ายซ้ายดีครับขวาแล้วกัน
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
นี่ใครครับภาพที่ตลอดเวลาวะล็อกอีก
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
It would be
worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
เอาเหี้ยอะไรไม่ได้กูทำอะไรวะ
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
เฮ้ยนี่คือที่ไหนวะ
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
กี่ล็อกเชี่ยเอ้าพี่พายพี่เริ่มหลอนแล้วเอ้าเหมือนกี้กูเดินผ่านมาประตูหนึ่งนะจำไม่ได้ดูเฮ้ยอีคนลุกสัตว์แม่งระแวงไม่รู้
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting.
โอ้โหแม่งเสียวมากเลยสัตว์
you've forgotten about. Please stop trying
ภาพ
to
มัน
make
สวย
every
มากเลย
decision by yourself. Now, I'm not
รถไป
asking
กูจะ
for
ตายแล้ว
me.
วะ
I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your
นี่
work
ถ้าใครเขาล็อกประตูกูวะเมื่อกี้
to let her back
เนี่ย
into your life. She's been
เปิด
waiting.
ได้กูไปไหนไม่ได้อยู่ดีจำเร็จแม่งตกเลยวะเฮ้ยเหี้ย
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To
เฮ้ยมีเหี้ยอะไรโผล่ออกมานะ
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
เหี้ยอะไรเสียงใครวะ
Right. Okay, there we go. All right, now I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
อุ้ย
Gotcha.
เหี้ยใครวะ
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a
ใครอะ
loving wife who'd want to
กูหลบ
commit
หน้า
their
ก่อน
life to you?
ใคร
I'm
วะ
trying to make a point here, Stanley.
นี่คนลุก
I'm
ว่ะ
trying to get you to see something. Come inside.
นี่มึงมี
Let
จู่
me
หรือ
show
เปล่า
you
เนี่ย
what's really going on here.
เฮ้ยเหี้ยคนลุกมีที่ไหนวะนี่อะไรเนี่ย
This is a very sad story
เฮ้ย
about
มึงหยับ
the
ได้ไง
death
วะ
of a man
เหี้ย
named
หลอนแล้วกู
Stanley.
อะไรอ่ะ2นี่คีย์บอร์ดอยู่ไหนแล้วกูกดอะไรวะทำไปไหนไม่ได้
Stanley is
กด
quite a
เย็ด
boring
บนคีย์บอร์ด
fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
กูหลอนหุ่นที่นี่ไม่มีเฮียอะไรผมมากด Z
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a
มัน
button.
ที่นอนใครวะ
Now he's eating lunch. Now
เอาไป
he's
ไม่ได้
going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
กดเลข8อีเหี้ยกูกดเหี้ยอะไรเยอะวะ
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever
อย่าหัน
happen
หน้า
to him.
มานะกด Y ดูทีวี
And so he began to
อันไหนทีวี
fantasize
มึงอะ
about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he
กู
stepped
ทำไม
up from
เนี่ย
his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his
กูนอนหรือ
boss,
กูนั่งไว้เหี้ยไม่โคตร
everyone in the
ต่ำเลย
building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
กด E
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
กด
As he wandered through
อะไร
this
ของมึง
fantasy
เนี่ยฮะ
world, he began to fill it with many possible paths
เอ้า
and
เฮ้ย
destinations. Down one
เดี๋ยว
path lay an enormous round room with
ไม่บอก
monitors
กูหน่อย
and
เมื่อกี้มัน
mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that
เฮ้ย
weaved in many
เหี้ยเมื่อกี้มันเป็น
directions.
โต๊ะ
And down another was
หรื
a
อว่า
game
เอ้า
with a
เหี้ย
baby.
ชิบหายละ
And he called it the Stanley
กูหลอนเองหรือ
Parable.
ว่าอะไรกันแน่เนี่ยเลข8ครับ
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his
อ้าว
head
เหี้ย
he
เริ่ม
relived
เอา
it
ละกู
again, and then again, and again, over and over,
เหี้ยขนลุก
wishing
แล้ว
beyond hope that it would
ข้างหลังก่อน
never end, that he might
มี
always
ที่ระบบ
feel
มา
he
นะ
was free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
กด X
But there is no
เอ้า
answer. How could there possibly be?
ยี่มึงเสก
In
โต๊ะได้เหรอ
reality,
เนี่ย
all he's doing is pushing
โคตร
the
เฟี้ยว
same
อะ
buttons he always has. Nothing has
แล้ว
changed.
กูจะออกไปไง
The
อะ
longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
กด Z go to sleep
And
อ้าว
I'm trying to
กูไปนอน
tell
เฉย
him
เลย
that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here,
Yeah,
he's
like
slowly
me.
killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley,
นี่จะ10 นาทีอยู่แล้วมึงให้กูทำอะไรอยู่ตอนเนี้ย
do not do it.
แล้วกูไม่มีเงาเลยเหรอกดไอ
You see?
อ้าว
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that
อ้าวไอ้
every
สัตว์
second he
ห้อง
remains
เดิม
here, he's electing to kill
นี่อะไร
himself?
เนี่ย
How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
กด X
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I
ให้
simply
กู
play
ปีน
to
อะไร
my
หรือเปล่า
intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see.
อะไร
Maybe this time.
อะไร
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a
อะไร
button.
อ่ะ
And I tried again.
ไฟดับ
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
เอ้าเฮ้ยเหี้ยอย่านะกูถอดหูฟังก่อนไอ้สัตว์อ๋อโหลดไอ้เหี้ยก็ตกใจหมดเลยอะไรอ่ะเอาไปละ
All of his co-workers were
Hey.
gone. What could it mean?
เขา
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
พูด
he
ทำอะไร
had
เนี่ย
simply
ฮะ
missed a memo.
บริษัทมึงมีแค่นี้เหรอแล้วลกชิบหายเลยเปิดไม่ได้อีกสักอัน
When Stanley came to
เมื่อกี้
a
เข้า
set
ขวา
of
ใช่
two
ไหม
open doors, he entered the door on his
เข้าซ้าย
left.
แล้วกันเหมือนโต๊ะกูเลยวะเฮ้ยมีเฮียอะไรอีกแล้วเนี่ย
Yet there was not a single person here either.
ส้นตีน
Feeling
อะไร
a
เนี่ย
wave of disbelief, Stanley
นี่
decided
กระ
to
โด
go
ดไม่ได้ด้วย
up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
เฮ้ยเปิดได้
Stanley stepped into the broom
เฮ้ย
closet,
อย่าเพิ่ง
but
ปิด
there was
กูออก
nothing
ไม่ได้
here, so he
ดู
turned
เฉย
around and got back on track.
ไม่มีอะไรเลยมันเป็นเงี้ยนี่มันขึ้นลงขึ้นล่าง
Stanley
เอา
walked
บนแล้วกัน
upstairs to his boss's office.
เสียงเฮียอะไรวะเฮ้ยออกได้ปะออกไม่ได้อีกแล้วใครเขาล็อกวะเหี้ยโอ้โหคนลุกทั้งตัวเลยกู
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover
Here,
no indication of any human
อะไร
life.
อ่ะ
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley
จุด
wondered
ตรง
in
กลางคืออะไรอ่ะ
disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
แล้วใครเขาพูดที่ไหนตลอดวะเนี่ย อะไรไหม
2845. But of course,
ไม่ได้
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
เป็นโนกดอะไรได้บ้างเนี่ยเฮียอะไรวะ
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad. 2845.
2 เอกเฮียอะไรวะเอก 4 5
Yet incredibly,
Yeah.
by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
อ้าวเนี่ย
He
ประตู
stepped
ลับ
into the newly opened passageway.
ไม่มีที่อะไรแปลกๆแน่เลยเฮียเฮ้ยขนลุกหมดแล้วนะจ๊ะใจเย็นๆเฮ้ยยี่แม่งหลอนวะ
Descending deeper into the building,
กูอยู่ไหนเนี่ย
he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest,
เชื่อ
as
แล้ว
though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his
เย็น
job.
เย็นเย็น
Why did he
เย็น
feel this now?
อยู่มุมไว้
For years, it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long.
เปิดแล้วครับใครเปิดไฟวะมันให้กูทำไรเนี่ย
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
นะครับขวาและซ้ายดีขวาแล้วกันครับโอ้โหแม่งคนลุกชูฉันอะไรอะ
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
นี่มันอะไรกันแน่นี่บริษัทหรือเลยวะเปิดกล้องครับตึ๊บ
Now the monitor jumped to life. Their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
กดปึ๊บ
This
นายต่อ
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Hey, let's go.
No,
Bye.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
เลข3คืออะไรมีเสียงน่ารักอ่ะเอ้าเฮียอะไรอีกเนี่ย
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this makes things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, me, where we're going, what all this means.
มันน่าจะมีอะไรสักอย่างแน่นอน
Where to start.
เกี่ยวสะพานนี้ไม่มีใช่ปะ
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are. A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
มันจะเกิดอะไรขึ้น
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
คืออะไรอ่ะ
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone
เหมือนเกมนี้มันจะแบบว่า ซัพพอร์ต คือแบบ
I have to say this though.
มันเตรียมไว้หมดแล้วอะ
This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching
คือ
you
อะไร
try
อ่ะ
to
เฮีย
make sense of
ไปทิ้ง
everything,
สูงก่อนเลย
take back the
แม่
control
สอนไว้เฮีย
wrested away from you. It's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better.
บอกแม่งระเบิดตึกไอ้สัตว์
Only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm
กู
going to
ทำอะไร
put
ให้กู
some
หยุดอ่ะ
extra time on the
ไม่มี
clock.
เป้าอะไรให้กูหยุดเลยอะเฮ้ย
These
มี
are
ประตู
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time
เฮ้ย
doesn't grow on trees.
ที่มันแม่งหยุด
Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where
เชี่ยอะไรวะ
you're going or what you're
ประตู
supposed to be doing right now?
เฮียล็อกอีก
Or did you just assume when you saw that
ขนลุ
timer
กว่ะเฮียขน
that
ลุก
something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
นี่ทำอะไร
Running
นี่มึง
from button to button,
นี่เหรอ
screen to screen, clicking
ใช่ปะ
on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no,
เอ้ย
these colored ones, or maybe
ทำอะไร
this
วะ
big red
เฮีย
button,
ขนลุกว่ะ
or this door. Everything,
เฮียขนลุก
anything, something here will
สัตว์เอ้ย
save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
เฮียขนลุกว่ะ
That this video game can be beaten, won, solved? Do you have
แม่ง
any
ขี้กูอยู่คนเดียวเลย
idea what your purpose in this place is?
ทำอะไรอะ
Stanley.
แล้วใครเขาบ่นอะไร
You're
วะ
in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the
เพล
action.
งเขาเล้าใจเหลือเกิน
It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see
ระบบจะพังแล้ว
you
เนี่ย
made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to
โอ้ย
control
อะไร
this
เนี่ย
world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so
เฮ้ย
you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you
เอา
have
เฮียล็อก
to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
โอ้
No
ยสั่นแบบ
ending, just you being blown to pieces.
พ่อแม่สอนผมไว้ว่า
Your frail life.
เจ้าเหี้ยที่สูงไอ้สัตว์เอ้ย
Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part
แปด
of the joke.
เจ็ด
And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable
ยี่หมายละ
life
แม่งแบบ
from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
เฮียเอ้าอะไรอ่ะเอ้าเริ่มใหม่เลยเย็ดโคนี่แล้ววะอะไรอ่ะไอสัตว์กูตายเหรอ่ะจะก็ใหม่พาร์ทหน้าครับผมโอ้ทำให้กูขนลุกฟรีๆเลยติดตามชมเมทัลเพลเยอร์ซึ่งแบบแพทที่2บายบายร็อกเกอร์